Time to cross the T's, dot the I's on the rest of this week's top stories. And with us right now is Leslie Marshall, radio talk show host and Fox News contributor. We finally meet Leslie. We've been in the radio business both a long time. Dunstan Fryall, FoxBusiness.com senior reporter, and Mercedes Colwin, Fox News legal analyst. And we've got, let's start with this story about a video that came out showing non-union members apparently hired by unions to stand out in the street and protest for the unions. So the question is, yeah, you can see what? Local? I mean, Dunstan, the union was hiring non-union people. Yeah. Doesn't that kind of defeat their purpose?
It does. And not only defeats their purpose, but it points up again. And I was listening to the conversation before I came out. Unions have become, whether they can argue the point or not, more and more of an anachronism as time has gone on. If you were a 12-year-old girl in New England in 1910, and you were working 16 hours in a textile mill in Fall River, you badly needed a union. But things have changed and times have changed, and it seems that they've needed to go to these sort of extreme measures just to get their point across, and it's more and more difficult to justify their existence as these sorts of things pop up.
So, Mercedes, I mean, at that point, I mean, they really are, when they hire non-union people, they're really shooting themselves in the foot.
And how outrageous. I mean, I have had clients whose projects are shut down. I've had unions sue clients and say, wait a minute, you need union employees working on these projects. Well, lo and behold, put your money where your mouth is. If you're going to say that and exact that price for all these corporations, then you better hire some of these union employees. What are you doing not hiring them? It will certainly come up in litigation in the future.
All right. Listen, Leslie, the unions, they're having a tough enough time. This seems like it just makes it harder for them.
First of all, I'm still trying to get over somebody mentioning Fall River, Massachusetts, because that's where I was born, although not 12 years of age in the 1900s.
But you weren't born in 1910.
No. I look good for my age, but not that good. But I have to tell you, I remember a woman named Shirley Sherrod. And I saw a piece of a video at one time that led me at first to believe something, and many Americans as well. You know, there's not enough evidence for me that backs 100% guarantee that these folks are non-union employees hired by a union. Protesters for something that benefits a union can be from unions or not. I mean, hello, our First Amendment. So, you know, I don't buy into all of this. I think we're beyond speculating based on a soundbite, so to speak.
But at the same time, in today's world where unemployment is so high, it seems like unions actually have an upper hand because of the fact that there are so many people that are disgruntled out there in the workplace. And
so many of their own union members that don't have jobs. There's certainly in the construction industry that has plummeted in this economy. They've got plenty of individuals there who are looking for jobs. They can go back into unions, get those folks, get them the jobs that they need.
It's time for unions to face the music, though, because you need look no further than Detroit and what's happened out there and what's going on in states across the country, where at the municipal, the county, and the state level, where there have been sweetheart union contracts. These states, these municipalities are all going broke, and they're going to have to make concessions.
All right. We've been hearing for decades now about how women make much less than men, but if you're a single woman under the age of 30, no children, this is this new crowd coming out of school, seems like you are outpacing the guys by 8%. So, Leslie, how about that?
Well, I think there are two things here. First of all, women are the majority of the population in the United States. Even though we're labeled a minority, we're technically a majority, not only in the United States, but in the world. So first of all, it's just a pure numbers game to one degree. Another degree, when we talk about people who are taking these jobs, I think statistically more men are starting their own businesses, and I don't think those are factored in necessarily, the entrepreneurs. So I think it's a very large number, and I think if we look at population and then we look at self-employed versus somebody being hired by corporations, that number would change. But I do think it's encouraging for the future because it shows that perhaps we're starting to level and equal the working field.
But Mercedes, the one thing that's always throwing these numbers off is simply the fact that you have babies and we don't. And it throws off the career path for a lot of women.
It definitely does. Plus, there is a statistical analysis that says, wait, women have historically made 20 to 30% less. In fact, there's a law that just passed earlier last year that said we're going to start to regulate this and make sure that these women do get paid the same amount. But Leslie's right about certainly about a couple of things. One, that the individuals who are getting reduced in force, those are the individuals who are losing their jobs. Those are mostly men because they're higher paid. They're the ones that are losing their jobs in these corporations. So it's shifting the paradigm a little bit. Yes, you're exactly right, Tom. 56% of the individuals graduating from professional schools are women.
Yeah.
That's tremendous. When you're talking about 10 years ago,
Dustin,
it was in the 30s.
Well,
15 seconds.
if I'm not mistaken, though, the study says young, single, childless women. And now, you can't quantify this, but I work with a bunch of young, single, childless women. They are far more responsible than their 25-year-old counterparts. They're just a hard-working group of young women. I'm not the boss. You can ask my boss. They really are. They're not out drinking in the bars all night. They're good, hard-working. I'm not surprised at all that they get paid more than their 25-year-old male counterparts.
I was told by a woman years ago that I used to work with that said men don't mature until they're 50.
That's to my point.
There you go.
The women are hardworking. They're career-oriented.
Maturity. Meantime,
Tom, that's just an excuse.
No, but it's the only one I got, Leslie. A South Dakota high school this week banned students from wearing these rubber breast cancer awareness bracelets because of the words. It said, "I love boobies." It's the only time I can say boobies on the air. The school district says its dress code outlawed jewelry with sexually suggestive messages. Mercedes, this is a breast cancer awareness campaign. Are they just crazy to use that word?
Get a life is what I'd like to say to the school district. Focus on cyberbullying. Focus on violence in the schools. Focus on educating our students. Get real, school district. I mean, seriously, Tom. It's for a good cause and something that's a little risque. How many times do you hear the word boobies? Put on primetime. You'll hear it 1,000 times. My kids are still up at 8, 9 o'clock. They hear that word. Get real.
Mercedes, I agree with every single thing you've said, and I'm as opposed to politically correctness as next. I've got a 6-year-old boy, though, and if he had a bracelet that said boobies on it, he would do nothing but goof around and laugh. It would be a complete distraction all day long.
Yeah,
that would be the end of that.
No work would get done here. Dunstan just brought up an interesting point. He's talking about maybe the parent said, yeah, go ahead. Well, let me buy this booby bracelet for you.
Well, you know what? As a woman, as somebody who's sitting here with 2 boobies of my own with us today that have joined us in the conversation, and being that they are what most children actually are sustained life-wise for when they come into the world, and then most men are extremely fascinated even until their graves with, I don't understand why we can't get over this. How puritanical are we? The pilgrims are gone.
Because God made shapes so that for some reason we are fascinated with everybody's shape on this.
Absolutely.
Leslie, thank you so much.
Yes, you guys are.
Mercedes, thank you. Dunstan, always good to see you as well.